Before we begin, I'm just gonna say one thing. Nintendo Switch 2 comes sooner than we thought on June 5th, and it only costs $449.99. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, on our topic today, daytime talk shows. Like what I mean by that is like Dr. Phil, Judge Judy, um, Steve Wilkos, The Maury Show, and stuff like that, like Jerry Springer. Basically, like if whenever you, basically it's like whenever you come home from school, it's usually on. Like whenever I came home from like high school and elementary school, it was like 3 o'clock. As soon as you put the TV on channel two, it was always Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil is like a psychologist, or he used to be now, but like basically it's like a televised therapist visit, if you could even call it that. Like it's like sometimes it's controversial with him and people on the show. Sometimes it's like controversial, I would say, because like there's some people would say like they're shaming them on live TV. Like why would they go and bring like say their problems, like that should be talked about in private and list about it in like public, and like have it all on the internet for not for all to hear. Now there are some people on Dr. Phil who like went in there for clout or like just to get famous, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're just talking about Dr. Phil and other stuff like in general. Basically, there's like pretty much anyone and everyone in Dr. Phil. There's he like I don't know how to describe it, but Dr. Phil, he has people who are spoiled, people who are poor, rich, abusive, all that kind of stuff, and tries to get to the point and tries to get to the bottom of why they're doing that. At least I think I've been watching it like a little bit, so I've really been watching too much TV, like shows like that. There are other shows similar to that, like Judge Judy, which is like pretty much the longest running court show. And there's other shows that are similar to Judge Judy revolving courts, like paternity court, divorce court, like where they decide child support, where they decide small claims, like with Judge Judy, and some other not funny, but like they're trying to just make money off of being a judge. Like there's like I've seen one like Judge Steve Harvey, but the next one I'm going to talk about makes sense, like Jerry Springer, Judge Springer, because he was actually the mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio, at one point. We're gonna get to that in another point. Judge Judy, I think, is an actual judge, and it started their shows back in like the '90s. Pretty much, whenever you're sick at home and there was nothing else to watch on cable, I guess you would put on Judge Judy if there was really nothing else on, and that was pretty much it. Pretty much, it's like a court show, but not like other court shows where like they show security camera like a court cam on A&E, but like they just show like court proceedings of Judge Judy and everyone else. Like it's like from what I saw on YouTube, it's like it's like suing for money, bodily injuries, like dog bites, um aggressive people. And if and Judge Judy, like it is a judge, like they try to hold the order of the court, means that they cannot interrupt the judge while they're talking, of course. Otherwise, they just otherwise I don't know. Basically, like you can't talk in front of a judge in court like while the judge is talking. Common sense. Basically, I only saw Judge Judy on YouTube nowadays. Like I have not really seen that much of him unless my grandfather was watching her. Like, cause unless there was nothing else on. Like he usually just watches the Mets, but he's not here anymore. But anyway, if Judge Judy was on, he would like to watch that or Dr. Phil. But anyway, going to like more controversial ones in some people's minds would be like Jerry Springer. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about Jerry Springer because I've not watched that much of him. I've watched other shows that are similar, like Steve Wilkos, which is like his bodyguard who had his own show, and the Maury Show, which we're going to talk about like right now. Oh boy, In the past years, I've been recently watching the Maury show. Even though he's retired now, Maury Povich is as he's named is the man who's behind the "You are not the father" guy. He's the guy who always says you're not the father, and then there's always the freak outs, celebrations. Like sometimes you see backflips, sometimes you see people running into the back room like crying on a sofa. And there's one famous clip of him where it's saying like where he's bringing out a jar of olives on in front of a woman who said they're afraid of olives because it reminded them of their loved one in a because it reminded them of their loved one after they passed like at a funeral. So yeah, Maury is controversial, but in a funny way, good way. Now some people might say it's staged, like the reactions, like they are a bit over the top. Like they're saying like they're not. I'm not the father, or you are the father. But then it's all up to the DNA test, which does not lie. Basically, like he's been doing it for like years and years, but he retired now. He's like in his 80s, but there's still like reruns of it on Channel 9 at like 2 to 3 p.m. Whenever I came home, like after classes, a few semesters, I would just put that on while I'm eating dinner. Yes, I eat dinner kind of early because I don't really eat lunch, but whatever. Different topic. Basically, S- um, there's obviously security on both those channels, on both of them, on all of them, basically. Because like sometimes they do get physical on Maury, but like of course there's security who's like preventing them from like getting too physical like and getting lawsuits. But everyone likes the show, including myself, and anyone who doesn't like the show knows who he is, whether positive or negative. If it were up to me, I would definitely if the show is still airing now, I would definitely go and see a live taping of it. I think they filmed it in Connecticut. I'm not sure like how accurate the I know the DNA tests are accurate, but Maury also does like lie detector tests, like for cheating, for relationship stuff. Yeah, Maury is basically more for like relationships, and the next one we're gonna talk about, Steve Wilkos, is like more about crimes and also relationships, but mostly about crimes. Anyway, that's what we're talking about next. We're still talking about Maury. There's like I said, relationships like cheating in the relationships, being unfaithful, basically being and basically the most famous, the paternity tests. Basically, they talk about stuff that I cannot say on here for like I don't want to get the channel taken down, but like they sometimes do talk about stuff. Yeah, they just talk about stuff. Anyway, but again, after he retired, he like passed it on. Um, yeah, after he retired, he's still making money from like the reruns and all that stuff. He's still very active on social media, like on stories. Like he sometimes um like I saw one time he was like he would willingly come out of retirement in order to definitively decide who the father is on a probably on a celebrity. I don't know who which one, but anyway, next we're gonna talk about Steve Wilkos. He was basically what do you call it? Security guard at Jerry Springer show, who's now did his own show, which talks about crimes, like mostly lie detector tests. He sometimes does paternity tests, but like 95% of the time, it's lie detector tests on crimes. Whether it's like being falsely accused and trying to and accused and trying to clear the image, or just trying to um, see their children, like saying like against a falsely accusing wife. So, basically, whenever he's angry, he likes to throw chairs, and there's basically like a lot of videos on YouTube for that kind of stuff. And then Jerry Springer, like I said, he was the mayor of Cincinnati at one point, surprisingly, and he was um, and his shows are basically like controversial. I guess that's done with the daytime part. I'm just gonna talk about anything that's like going on nowadays. Now it's April. Pretty much, if you're an anime watcher and you like to rewatch anime, like a tradition, and this time is a good time to watch Your Lie in April. Like it's the time. It's a perfect time of month, and it's what do you call it? That's pretty much one of the most emotional anime I ever watched. Basically, I can't even describe how it made me feel at the end. I was in tears, basically. Anyone who watched the show knows how it is. There's a new season of Boji the Rock coming up soon. And like they were just announced like several months ago. It's basically like a music anime, like I said, like a couple weeks ago. There's like been recent allegations on impact in two of the Impractical Jokers, like Joe and Mur, but I don't. But honestly, in my opinion, Mur, I don't see like it being legit. But if they accuse Sal, then it's basically over. It's basically over if they accuse Sal, because he is the best Joker of the Impractical Jokers. Come on. Anyway, I got a lot of time. What else do I want to talk about? Kitchen Nightmares ended its like second season after like a long run. It's basically like a reboot of a basically Gordon Ramsay like not talks about, but goes to failing restaurants and revives it, except for one where they basically failed. Like they were so stubborn and so resistant to change that he had no idea that he had no choice but to leave. Like in the one where he refused to leave, or the one where he actually did leave. The owners were awful. The owners were yelling at studio owners were yelling at the customers for like wanting a tip for like the owners were yelling at the customers. The owners were refusing tips, were holding tips for the employees, like not giving them tips, and even was like cursing and screaming at Gordon Ramsay for even talking about for even saying anything wrong with the restaurant. Like they were basically delusional, and they basically lost their business pretty much after the show. It's called Amy's Baking Company, in case anyone who's curious. So, um, anything else that's new on TV? Basically, that's it.